get to my guy, Darren Rovell, because I didn't even know that. Now, I've seen him posting about it a little bit, but I didn't know that Darren was like the world's foremost expert on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I know you can and should follow him on social media at Darren Rovell. 2 million followers. 2 million. That is crazy. Darren was way ahead of the game from a social media perspective. He's also the founder of Cllct Media. Before I even get into, Darren, the hot dog eating contest, what's Cllct Media?
Hey Ross, how are you? Let me just tell you, on Father's Day, I dream to say I'm playing golf, but actually just sit in a car with air conditioning for 5 hours. That's one of my ideas. And for Father's Day, I tell them I'm aggressive. I said, we're buying a hibachi grill. I'm getting A5 Miyazaki Wagyu, and I'm cooking it, and that's what's happening. So that's my Father's Day wish.
Nice.
And when the wife notices, if she does a drain of $275, it's for the Wagyu steak, but that's, hey, we're gonna go great this Father's Day.
I like a man that knows what he wants. Tell me
Yes.
about Cllct Media quick.
So,
Darren.
obviously did the sports business thing for 20 years and did gambling for 5. And I had always been a collector, and the journalism had never really gotten to collecting. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And so there's not really a site for collectors, whether they're novice or sophisticated, to come. And during COVID, if I had one more person say, should I grade my cards? What do I have? Is it junk? Is it, literally the number of questions every day. And so, hey, how about we have a site where we have an FAQ where we can tell people what they're doing? It's been amazing. So it's been 2 months we've been doing this, and broke a bunch of stories, and having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I've got a couple buddies back in Central PA that their whole house is sports memorabilia, and they are into it. I mean, they are.
Oh yeah.
They came over to my house, Darren, and all I had up was like my jerseys from the teams
Yep.
I played for, and they were like, "Well, where's your other stuff? Like, you play with Brady. Where's your?" I'm like, I didn't ask Tom Brady for anything. I didn't ask Emmett Smith. I didn't say like, "Hey, Emmett, can I have your jersey?" Although Emmett, that was actually his Christmas
His
gift
thing.
to us. He gave us a
Yeah.
signed jersey that year, back in 2002. All right, so give me an update on the hot dog eating contest. Paulie tells me you're like the world's foremost expert on this thing over the years.
Yeah, so this, and I'm given credit, thank God, in the book Horsemen of the Esophagus, which is a great book if you haven't read it. But yeah, no, in 2002, I was at ESPN, and we had this thing on most sent stories that you could look at. This was before there were like heat maps, and the second most sent story in 2002 on ESPN.com wasn't like, the first was Deer forces man to flee office, which is on the outdoors page. Literally, that was the number one most sent story at ESPN.com, 2002. And number 2 is Kobayashi. And I was like, wait, this thing happens in Coney Island and we're not doing anything? And ultimately convinced ESPN to televise it, and was the initial stove side reporter, or whatever you want to call it, and got to know all these guys. And so this one's a real interesting one. I had heard rumblings about a week ago that Joey Chestnut was not going to be back. I had not heard that he is signed with Impossible Foods to endorse a plant frank, but that's kind of how it came out, that they, you could obviously understand that Nathan's, the sponsor of the hot dog eating contest, doesn't want the plant competitor on Joey Chestnut. So whether he canceled them or they canceled him, it came out that he was not going to be in the hot dog eating contest, which, by the way, the fact that the hot dog eating contest can still own the world as it did, right? Despite the fact that they pretty much had 2 champions over 25 years. This isn't like Jimmy Johnson winning like 5 NASCARs. This is 2 champions over 25 years. This is the worst parody of any sport. And yet they can grab the relevance that they do, that Joey Chestnut's not going to be there. So then everyone's like, oh, this is a stunt. I'm like, it's not a stunt. Believe me, the people at Major League Eating that are putting on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, they're devastated. They're devastated they're not going to have Joey Chestnut. But then the next day it comes out that there's also a deal for Netflix with Joey versus Kobayashi for the first time since what, 2004 or 5.
So, yeah, I mean, that sounds a little bit too much of a coincidence there. Walk me through the timing there, Darren.
Well, I think Joey had already looked at the Netflix deal. Hey, we're going to own Labor Day instead of own the 4th of July. And then I think probably the Impossible Foods deal just slammed the whole thing home because, Major League Eating is paying this guy like $250,000 just to be in the hot dog eating contest. That's a strong 10 minutes. But so I think the deal just became too good once he could get another endorsement deal with Impossible. Now, we've had a lot of questions. Do people who are going to eat a plant hot dog, would they eat a real one? Are they really competitors? That is a big question, Ross. So I put that out on Twitter. Are they really competitors? And 27% of people said that if they are hot dog eaters, they would consider a plant hot dog. I
That's
thought that was high.
interesting. Well, my question was going to be like, in terms of a contest, I would think you could probably eat more plant-based hot dogs, or does it make no difference?
Remember, I think you're really miscalculating here. Plant-based hot dogs have a lot more sodium. The sodium factor of Joey's eyes are like bulging out red. And I think sodium is the single biggest issue when you're doing this contest. So I don't know about that.
What does he
Plant
make a
definitely has more
year?
sodium.
Darren, what does he make a year? You think Joey Chestnut?
Probably about, with everything, probably $500,000 a year.
Okay. And now maybe he'll go viral now with you do something on Netflix, man. That's international. I mean, you have a chance to go big when you do that.
No, and it's Netflix Live, which they're trying to, obviously put a lot of focus on. So it's very interesting.
All right,
Interesting.
can you do us a favor, Darren, and stay on top of this story? Very important.
You don't have to ask me. I'm on top of this. I will, if somehow Joey Chestnut's competing, I am putting pressure on myself to break that story.
I love it. Check him out on social media at Darren Rovell. And of course, Cllct Media. Very cool. Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, Ross.
All right.